Okay, so the first runner we have online today is Kim in the Attic. We will be joined by Fat Pike in a moment. How are you doing, Kim?
Yeah, good. The weather is nice.
Great. For how long have you been playing A Story About My Uncle? How new or old are you to the game?
Oh, I guess for like 2 years now. Yeah, like about 2 years.
Okay, so the world record is about 27 minutes and something. What's your time?
I'm like have a high 29, I guess. So I'm sub 30, which is like the big thing in the story about my uncle, but still like 2 minutes or a bit more than 2 minutes behind world record.
Okay, so sub 30 is the goal for anyone in VUT. Like it is, we give like scores to the games, and we gave like 30 minutes the top mark, like the 200 points anybody would aim for the true hardcore runner. So I guess we didn't miss by much the mark there. And yeah, it's a long game. Well, it's not too long when you play it casually, but when you start speedrunning it, there are a lot of texts that are needed for the time to go down. Like you have a lot of cutscenes you cannot skip. That the first thing is to learn how not to trigger them, and a lot of small things everywhere, because you have so much possibilities in the movement in that game.
Definitely, yeah.
So what did you like the most about that game? Like the movement, the text, the whatever. What bring you to the game?
To be honest, like I was sitting around with a friend and we were just thinking about what game could we start together to learn speedrunning it, and we both liked The Story About My Uncle, and the grapple hook mechanic seems like perfect for speedrun tricks, and so we started it. And I guess I still play the game because I really love the graphics, to be honest, and that's the most important part for me, and the gameplay works and makes fun. So I guess the good thing about the game is that we can still improve ourselves by just getting a flow into the gameplay, like being faster and faster just by aiming quicker and like getting the edges better. So the small things are every time entertaining. Oh, and I guess Fat Pike is here now.
Hey, what's up, Fat Pike?
It works.
It works? Great. Yeah. So yeah, same question I ask Kim. What's your PB and what did bring you to the game?
Well, my PB is sub 30 or sub 31, I believe.
30. Yeah, a little bit above 30.
Yeah, 3 seconds over 30. And the reason I joined this game was I just wanted to be able to speedrun a game, and I really love the casual gameplay of this game, and I thought it can be too hard, so I just started running, finding my own route, trying to get it as fast as possible. And well, yeah, I just kept on playing, and Kim eventually helped me with Ice Cave, and then I just followed the route almost everyone uses today.
Yeah, it is a small indie game. Like I know a lot of people never heard about it in the UD, but there's certainly a big community. Like the game is going to be featured on SGDQ this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And yeah, oh, great. And yeah, there are like a lot of runners, a lot of texts have been found. Like as you mentioned, the grappling hook makes it so good for any speedrun mechanic. Like it allows so much to go fast, but you also start with a big jump and a high jump and a long jump, which are pretty hard to use correctly because you have to use the right button of the mouse to just trigger them, and you have to be constantly actually pressing that mouse button all the time just to prepare the next jump. And you like it gets such a good flow when you get used to it. If you watch the world record of that game, it is insanely good to watch because there is constantly something happening, and like you never stop.
Right.
Yeah, actually this is really entertaining because like one day there was a person in my stream and the person just asked, how did you like directly jump when you land on the ground? And I was just like I press the right mouse button and then I unpress it. But I just realized in the normal playthrough, you never do this. Like jumping is like it looks a little bit weird if you do it casually. So yeah, it is really something interesting because you're so fast in your movement because of that.
Okay, so the race is going to start. Usually, the speedrun starts by at the sanctuary. So I hope Yo-Yo-Shik is going to reset right now. So the speedrun starts on the second level of the game. That's just because the first level is just a tutorial, like a long cutscene. We don't want to wait through. But that change is like new-ish to the game. Like you guys used to do the workshop.
Yes.
When I started,
I was sure that someone
Can you go?
had been here before.
no, Fatbike, you go.
Someone had built this bridge.
The reason why workshop is removed, I believe, is because it doesn't really do anything for gameplay wise. You just walk and listen to what the narrator is telling, and then you just have to wait. So I don't know who timed it correctly with the 142, but we just used the 142 timer on Sanctuary and just start running, I guess.
Yeah, and like when I started, there were like some people playing the game and starting with workshop every time, but the most are not. And so I just decided to do it like without workshop, because it's like if you reset the game for more than 10 times a day, it's totally impossible to watch workshop over and over again.
For the longest time, I didn't even know you could skip workshop like that. So I was really relieved when I found out you could. And you know, it's still stupid resetting in Sanctuary because everyone hates Sanctuary. But it's better than, you know, listening to something and you're not even able to do anything.
So as soon as the game starts, as we are seeing on at least 3 of the 4 screens, I don't know Yoshi is going to restart or not. I hope he will. But you have like an insane amount of movement possibilities. And very early on, you grab the crystal that allows you to do the grappling hook. So you have like almost everything already. And so there are a lot of techs in that level specifically. You can go kind of OB. And it's quite precise, but the game is very open. Like you can land on almost anything. Like every now and then there are going to be slopes that you cannot land on, but it's very open, and that just makes it like, how long did it take to find a good route on every level?
Okay, I guess we both came into the game when there was a really good route. So Twykex, which has a 28 or 29, was world record back then, and the route was pretty much like it is today. Everything found after that is like smaller stuff. I guess you could save like more than a minute by that, but still the route was made. And I guess Fat Pike and King Cadence, running another category than we are, were the people finding this route. As that's how I like think it is.
Yeah, I just started finding my own route, and then eventually I mean I didn't even watch any runs back then, so it was like everyone had, I think Vince had still like 30 minutes back then, but I had 1 hour, 1.5 hour, I don't know. And then I just watched one run, copied it, and you know, the route was pretty much already there when I started running.
Interesting. So yeah, we just grabbed the second crystal on Zoph's stream, so now he can do 2 grappling hooks in a row without without touching the ground. The category is any percent no fling. The fling is a glitch that allows you just to do almost like to fly, quite literally. And so this category is one of the main ones. I feel like a lot of people are running without the glitch.
Definitely. Yeah.
No fling is the popular one, and I think because you're pretty much playing the game as far as, you know, the game is legitimate, and flinging is just way faster. If you watch the bind fling, it's like, I don't know, 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's like the thing. I guess like the any percent category with flings is like really hard. Even it's like you have to be really precise, and you have to learn every spot, and you have to be lucky, I guess, to get everything correctly. So a lot of people are running Bindthink, or were running Bindthink back in the days, where you just like change the in-game settings so that you have a button to lower your frame rate for a short moment. And if you grapple anywhere, then you can just fling yourself through the whole level. So this is much easier, but it's like you're manipulating the game files more than just the frame rate. And this is why it is not the main category. And any % no thing is like, you have to learn more tricks, you have to learn different things, and not just the places where you can fling on.
The only shady thing about that speedrun is that everybody is running at 31 FPS. That's not really a glitch. That's just, first, it's cool because it's standardized. Everybody, I feel, is running at 31 FPSs. And people do that because it allows for easier like corner boost. I don't know exactly the name. I'm using like deadcore names, sorry. But it's it allows, for better and easier times at some points, but it's not like you cannot change your FPS limit at any point during the game. It's just like everybody does that, and it's simpler that way.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the main reason for this is that your rocket boots, we will see rocket boots later on in the run. You can use them in the last 2 levels, and your rocket boots are much longer if you play on 31 FPS. And this allows like a few cool skips that weren't possible before. And like you said, the edge boost, we call them edge boost, but corner boost, I guess, is okay. And the edge boosts are like much easier on 31 FPS than on 60 or 61.
Been to the village, right? Let's meet over there in the square. I'll show you around.
To be honest, it was hard for me to have like, I have a high-end PC. I run at, I don't know, the game was running at 200 FPS on my like 144 monitor, and I was, I have to play at 31. That's going to be painful. But
not required to play on 31.
Yeah,
I think Spikex run is still on 60 frames and still really good.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is still possible. There are like some minor route changes, if I understood correctly the tutorial you made.
Like, I would say everything is possible with 60 frames, but 2 or 3 skips that save like maybe 10 seconds. I guess like there's one skip we save like 10 seconds within your rocket boots, but there's a lot of things are just much easier because you don't have to be that precise with your rocket boots. You have a little bit more room to make smaller mistakes or to use an angle that is not that good. Yeah.
Before asking him though, you should check out the
We are seeing on Lucarata's stream the first cutscene of the game. We cannot skip that one, but there are many cutscenes that can be skipped in the game, which is like a relief because they are so long, and you know, I'm not that much into the voice acting and the story per se, so you know, it's good to be able to go fast and not suffer like long cutscene all the way through.
Okay, but to be fair, this was the second cutscene of Village, and this one is skippable.
Well,
yeah, and the first one is before that. So the cutscene when you're like getting into Village,
this one Village is unskippable.
Yeah, the end and the beginning. Yeah.
What I was saying is that the area we are seeing like on Lucarata's stream right now is very, very open. It's open for exploration. The girl Maddie just tells you, hey, go look everywhere, and you can actually like just get around the center place of the village she's waiting you at, and yeah, indeed, you can skip that one. I was referring to the first one, but I don't yet still have like everything in place in my mind, but it will come, I'm sure.
I understand.
Yeah, it's no problem. Interesting is also that like Zoff, I guess, Zoff stream is stuck on the crystal cutscene, the third crystal cutscene, and actually you should definitely menu out. If you get stuck in the scene, you should get back to main menu and
then continue. You reload your last checkpoint before you enter the cutscene, and you can redo it.
Yeah, because this cutscene is really long and you can skip it like if you like know how. It's not that hard,
We should
and
help.
this is like taking a really long time there.
Same in Starhaven, where the long cutscene is.
Yeah, you can do like the cutscenes. They are triggers that are like, I don't know, huge boxes, I guess. And if you go around the box, you just can avoid. You steal the crystal, and you reset to the checkpoint, and you can just move on.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, there are like my tutorial is just like a playthrough of a level basically, and I try to explain how. But I wanted to make an updated tutorial, and I'm learning like Adobe Premiere at the moment to make proper videos without just without just cutting a stream together. So like the boxes are like, they seem to be really heavy and hard to avoid, but if you know where they are, it's really easy because like you can grapple really precisely, and then it's no problem.
Exactly.
I feel like the game. Sorry, go on.
I actually want to make a full stream tutorial on the day Kim released his tutorial on Turbo America.
I'm sorry, didn't know about that.
I'm still planning to do that though.
He's still salty, you can tell.
I mean, his tutorial is really helpful, and I always refer to his tutorials when someone joins.
Yeah, it is. I played straight 6 hours today, just learning the game, following your tutorial, and then like doing a run. I got like a time of 46 minutes. And it is easy to pick up as a speedrun. If you like what you're seeing right now, just don't hesitate. The community is very friendly, and yeah, the tutorial is super helpful. But I feel like getting everything right on the first try is going to be a pain, and
It's really
not forgetting to keep my momentum going and to get that right mouse button pressed all the time is going to be very hard for me.
I just wanted to say that your Yoshi X is like way in front, but then I realized that he didn't reset, I guess, after the race started.
Yeah, I guess
He's one level,
Darkness swept over me as I left
one
the
level
village.
more far than the other one now.
Headed for the
yeah,
opposite
that's
side of
good.
the
It's going to
mountains.
give us the opportunity to watch more of the game if the guys don't get there to the ice caves. But once again, yeah, this is a very casual race, and I probably didn't give enough instructions. We have like the UD has been going for 3 years now, and we have like still every season we have new runners, and I tend to forget to just be precise when I set up those races. So yeah, it's probably on my bad. Don't blame me on that.
No, it's not a big problem. Actually, I just think like it is really cool for the Story About My Uncle community as well that some more people are just learning and seeing the game. So we are really happy, and like I guess it's a lot of work if you want to instruct like a whole marathon thing. So yeah, I think it's totally understandable that not everything is working every time.
So yeah, if talking about the UD, while the Lucarata is making good progress here in this cutscene in the chasms, the UD is just we announced like one game per week. So this week is a story about my uncle, but everybody is going to keep playing it because the grand finals of the UD is in October. So up until October, all the players are going to try to get as consistent as possible. We are going to have like grand tourneys during July, August, and September. All the tournaments will feature a story about my uncle amongst the 10 games, and it's going to be very interesting to see how well and how far down the time get pushed. Like how many players will get that sub 30 mark, and will there, I don't know, new routes or new skips will be found. It's always interesting, and yeah, I don't know how well, like how hard it is in a race to do sub 30.
I guess like it has never happened before, but I'm not 100% sure. Oh yes, Vince, actually the world record holder like gets a sub 30 like more often in races.
Oh
yeah.
One time I was ahead of everyone, and then I triggered the cutscene in Starhaven, and it was such a pain.
Okay.
Almost had like a perfect run.
Madeline,
I think I
picked
could
up
have
my back,
PB'd back then, but
and with the suit on, I could
Nah.
barely feel the extra weight.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck for you guys. If you wanna join, just like the UD leaderboard, if you do like get a PB during the season, you can just submit. Like we do allow anyone, like just if you are here for just one game, it's you are more than welcome to. And if you want to come and help in the UD Discord, like just give advices or stuff, don't hesitate. It's going to be really interesting to see races of that game because there are so many critical moments, especially in the level where Lucaranta is right now. You don't go the intended route like ever. It's always like skipping. You are in a huge cave and you can grapple to mostly everything, like except sometimes it doesn't happen. I don't know why. And it allows just like to cut that level. I don't know, casually it takes about like 20 to 30 minutes, and in the speedrun it's like 4 minutes. So it's very good.
I have to say I'm really hyped for like seeing the progress from every stream. Like on Thursday maybe I will see a lot more advanced techniques than I see right now, because like Lukai Rada, I don't know how to pronounce, is doing the casual route more or less, not doing the really hard skip of the game everybody is like scared of in the beginning. And it will be really interesting to see more people like do the more advanced techniques.
I think Lucarata and Zoff already know a bit about the game. Yoyoshi is making good progress. I think he played through the game too. I feel like Mollyman never played through the game. This is like his first time ever. So yeah, as I was saying in the introduction of the stream, like very different skill level of anyone. On Thursday, I'm trying to feature as many of the runners we are seeing right now, if they are available and if they had time to work on the speedrun, just to see how much they improved. But on all the other games, they went from like, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hours to very, very good times on like Shovel Knight and Eye of Sorrow. So it should be the same thing on A Story About My Uncle.
Which actually is really crazy. Like I need like I'm not able to play more than one game and get good at it, and like you guys are like doing like so many games. This is crazy.
Yeah, I'm pushing them as far as I can.
And I mean, like I looked into your stream earlier this day, and I was really surprised because you're not playing the game for so long, and like you know about a lot of techniques and tactics. So that's really crazy to see.
Lucarata in that worm section, you have to stay put when he has his eye open, or will make you fall. It's like you can do it in just one cycle in the speedrun, but I find it very hard. So usually we will see a lot of players play it safer here, I feel.
Yeah, like the eye is like a really interesting thing, because like there's a cutscene. Lukai Rada was watching it before, and if you don't watch the cutscene and the eyes like sees you anyways later on, if you skip it, then you have to menu out again, because you will get stuck in this cutscene forever, or the eye will just never stop looking at you if you're around. So yeah, Fabrik.
And the eye is the only RNG in this game, which is not entirely. I mean, I never noticed it, but Vince told me once, and it's just like he can look as much as he wants, but you can get a triggered one where it only looks left and then goes back to sleep.
I knew you had it in you.
Oh, so the duration of him looking is random?
I'm not 100% if it is completely random, but at least it's not like we are not sure why it is like looking one more time to the left and the right sometimes, or like one turn less.
This one says,
It is a weird thing.
I guess that's not too bad. So it's a very, very consistent game. If you play except for that very small part. If you play the same way all the time, every cycle is a universal cycle. So if you are as fast as you are before, you will get the exact same behavior from the platform and everything that's moving. The only problem with that is if you are ever so slightly faster or slower, you will not get the same behavior from the moving objects, which can lead to some problems, I guess.
Fresh air again was enough.
Yeah, definitely. Like watching Sanctuary from high-level players is always like a lot of resetting if they miss the first cycle, because you know that you will be like at least 15 seconds slower if you don't get the first cycle. And so this is important, but like the skill level is also really matters, because like we talked about edge boost earlier. If you're really good at edge boost, you can like be so much faster. And I guess this is the most impressive change since I started running the game. And some people are really good at edge boosts, and I guess I'm okay-ish, but some are not. So this is like a huge difference. If you're able to get a lot of speed from hitting a wall with your grappling hook, then you can like save a lot of time.
And basically, if you screw up Sanctuary, it is difficult to get a good time out of the whole
The
run.
legends were true. The strays.
Just because of out of your morale, or does it have any impact on the run later on?
They invented.
Well,
crystal
Sanctuary is
powers
pretty
which
reset heavy,
produced
because you have
their
some
own
pretty
fabric.
precise jumps and
They
edge
built
boosting.
houses out of bricks and
If you do
stone.
it like
It was like a
Kim
civilization
or
was
Vince.
forming before
Um,
us.
So if you screw up or lose much time in Sanctuary, it's pretty difficult to get that time back, especially after chasms.
Okay, because you lose like one big chunk of time altogether. You cannot, if you screw up Sanctuary, you will lose at least like 15-20 seconds, I guess, and nothing less.
Yeah, but it's still possible to get a good time, but it's just difficult.
Yeah, like I would say Sanctuary is when you're playing on a high level, Sanctuary is the hardest level of the game. In the beginning, it's not that bad, but if you want to get a really good time, like the out of bounds part, the first jumps, all this is like costing you a lot of time if you're not getting it like first try. And this is the big thing. If you miss something in Sanctuary, it's mostly something that costs you a lot of time. In the levels later on, you can most of the time easily get back on track really soon.
The heaviest reset you can get is in Starhaven though, because you skip many checkpoints if you do a fast run.
Yeah, like sorry.
Which I lost a lot of time, especially in Starhaven and in Sanctuary.
Yeah, definitely. I guess my Starhaven is my worst segment in my PB, and like right before where Lucairata is now, there is like a challenge where Maddie says, "Hey, you can try this part without your grappling hook just by jumping," and this is the first checkpoint you will get in a playthrough if you're playing not really safe, and it happens to me like a lot that I just don't get to the platform where Maddie says this, and then you're got reset to the beginning of the level, like to the very beginning, and this is like then your run is over basically, because it's like taking such a long time to get there. And this is why I would say like every race or marathon should have like at least some safety checkpoints before.
That's why I think that level is going to be the most fun to watch in races, because like you can play it very, very aggressive and take a lot of risks, but it could pay off, or you can take it like a tad slower and lose a bit of time, but you know, if you die, it's okay. And the game allows for a lot of creativity. Like you have in that level specifically, you have so many platforms and ways to go. Like in your tutorial, you say a lot like, this is my route, but there are other routes, because in that level in particular, you can go almost like anywhere you want. You have like always multiple paths to go from like islands to islands. So it is an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, the thing is that the story by my uncle is much more like linear than it looks. in the first place, but it still is like due to the grappling hook really possible to land on this platform or that platform over there, and so you can always decide, will I make the long jump and maybe not get to the platform, or will I take it safe? Yeah. So this is like why Starhaven is one of the most impressive levels to watch, and also like because there are floating rocks everywhere in the sky, which looks beautiful.
Besides, it's so reset heavy. I think it's the most fun I have in A Story About My Uncle. Just when you leave chasms and you just enter Starhaven, it's just so beautiful in my opinion. So I never get mad when I play, but oh boy, I can smash things when I miss a checkpoint or miss a platform. You know.
I had a question about like edge boosting. What's I feel like the most important thing about like everything in A Story About My Uncle, but especially edge boosting, is where you aim your grappling hook. You have to be precisely on the edge of the rock or the platform you are grappling into, so you can get like you can swoosh past the rock and like get some speed out of it. But do you release? Do you degrapple at some point, or is edge boosting like made like by keeping the grapple until it gets you loose by itself?
Should I, Fat Pike?
Yeah, you do it.
Okay, as far as we understand this, edge boosting works if your character, like if your hitbox, gets into an object that is grabbable but not solid. Like, for example, the leaves of trees. They are like grabbable, you can grapple them, but they are not solid. And this is also where flings work, but this is also why you get like a boost if you're like going to these objects or to these edges of stones, because the hitboxes of the stones are different to their grapple boxes where you can grapple them. And if you're like getting this angle where you move a little bit into the stone where it is not solid, then you gain a lot of speed there. Another thing that can happen is that the game tries to push you around an edge, and you get a lot of speed because the game wants you to be there. And if you get the speed, and then you should ungrapple. If you're like getting pushed around an object, then you want to ungrapple to get the speed. But if you just want to hit in the object and you have a good angle, then you can just press grappling all the time until it ends because you hit the object.
So what I see a lot of time when people try edge boosting is that they hold it till the very end, which is possible, but it is more likely that you bump in the wall and just fall. At least it happens to me. So I kind of release just before I hit the object. That's how I do it usually.
Exactly, because you have like air control then. If you stop grappling, you can move your character a little bit with the arrow keys, and this is really helpful if you want to get edge boosting. But like, I'm not sure which person is the best in edge boosting, but we have a I'm not sure about that, because we have a miscellaneous category which is unlimited grapples, where you just cheat that you can grapple all the time and you don't have to land anywhere. And there's a run from Cena, known from the Ratchet and Clank community, and Cena did in this run like amazing things. Like, she's grappling and she's getting an edge boost every time. Like, every time she's grappling a wall. I really don't understand how this is possible, but I guess like this is how it can be, and then you can gain like speed every time. But yeah, I would say grapple as long as possible and ungrapple really short before the wall, so you don't get bumped into it.
Okay, that's a nice advice. Thanks. Because like when you try at the first time to do exactly like what you see in the world record or just following a tutorial or stuff, you will not go as far as the runner. Like, that's incredible, but you will never shoot as far as you guys. It's like it takes a lot of practice to understand like the physics and how to dodge mid-air. You have a lot of air control, but it has to be, yeah, it has some substance you have to get into before you understand exactly how you move and how the game works.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have to leave now. It was really fun to watch this until here, and I guess Fatpike will do a good job explaining from here on alone. But I just wanted to say thank you for inviting us, and thank you for like not ignoring our community, because it's really cool. I'm really hyped for every new runner in the community, and there will be a lot, I guess, in the next like days, and a lot of runs we will see, and that's cool.
Thanks a lot, Kim. Thanks for stopping by. That was really cool. Maybe we'll have you on Thursday. We are doing like the second race. We'll talk about that on the Discord. But yeah, thanks a lot for your time and all your insights. And we will see you later.
Okay, bye then.
See you, Kim.
Okay, so Lucaranta is right at the end of Star Heaven.
Yes.
Yo-Yo Chicks is at the start of the ice caves, Mollyman is at the end of the chasms, and Zoff is somewhere in between Star Heaven too. So Lucaranta is getting into the ice caves, and I feel like in speedrun it's almost the easiest level. You get so much by keeping your rocket boots, and by not doing the first cave, which is a huge pain, like it's awful. You can I'm not sure how the grappling mechanic works on like the ice, but you can grapple at some places. The game is not sure that it wants to allow you to, and it makes some interesting skips and tricks.
Basically, everywhere where you can see ice is ungrabbable. You have some stone in between where you can grapple. That's why if you watch a fling run, ice cave is basically the same as no fling.
Maybe it wasn't I was looking for.
But yeah, it's I think for me it's the easiest level since Kim taught me how to do it. And yeah, I love ice cave for that reason.
If you meet him, when you meet him,
so
tell him to
we see, yeah, Yo-Yo Chic's trying to get out of that pass. There are some places like this one we see in the speedrun, but we got so much in the speedrun, like it's insane. Like really, you have no idea how much we don't see of the ice caves, and it's very good because the ice caves, once again, it's a cave, so there are like rocks and stuff all the way around you, and you can like jump on most of everything you see in that game, which is interesting because the intended path is quite easy to follow. But if you want to get lost in those caves, you can like go around like forever, and it must have been like a long process to find those edges the runners land on.
Yeah, exactly. When I found out that you can do the skip for losing your rocket boots, I was just amazed. I didn't know it was possible, and it's so useful for that reason. Otherwise, the part where you go without the boots is so slow. And yeah, I think pretty much of the jumps you make in ice cave are pretty precise. So you can get stuck at some points in ice cave. And I think casually this is the hardest level. I mean, from my perspective, it was the hardest level.
Yeah, it is very tough. Like, it's the first place I was finding myself dying over and over again. Usually you have so much movement possibilities that you are never really stuck.
And it introduces many new things that the other levels didn't have, such as the crystals and falling rocks, which you do not really see in the speedrun.
Yeah, the falling rocks you completely ignore. The crystal you are going to see some. What's the crystals? Like, we had the player really confused on how they work. If you shoot at them, they will refill your energy. But in order to be able to shoot at them, you need to have like 1 bar. So it's quite finicky at start, but you get used to it. And a lot of parts of the ice caves are built around the fact that you can grapple almost forever using the crystals to refill your grapple. So you never want to walk. Yeah, and you never want to walk in that game. Like in my speedrun, like in my stream, I was constantly walking, and you guys were telling me like, stop walking, it's so slow. And like using the grapple is way better, and you can do that so much in the ice cave. Even casually, it's very fun.
Yeah. It's funny though, because Sanctuary is the easiest for casually, but the hardest in speedrunning, I think.
Yeah.
And it's the other way around with Ice Cave.
Although Chasms has some tricks to it, like understanding. So the level where Mollyman is currently, you cannot see anything. That's going to be tough to do commentary on because it's pitch black. And
that's why we hire the Gamma on that's usually.
Yeah, you on the option menu, you can put the Gamma at 2.0, and that's mandatory, I'd say, just to be able to see just a little bit more what's going on. And Lucarata, this is like just the start of the level, and in a speedrun you can get there like in 10 seconds. You actually can grapple through an ice block, and it tells us to skip the first cave, which is a relief, because Lucarata did a very good job at not dying in that place, but it is incredibly hard to go fast through and to just even do correctly, actually.
He's doing something you should not do, actually. I mean, you can, it's intended for the game itself, but running, it's so slow, this. Actually, Kim was laughing at me because I did it like this.
Yeah, it is. Okay, this part is interesting too. So you have that giant pike you want to climb, and the game wants you for that to grab onto those flying rocks and to go round the pike, like getting a bit higher each time. But you can go way higher than that very fast using the rocket boots, and just like landing on those rocks, you will gain a lot of height.
You do not go around the giant spike anymore. You just go up, basically.
But it is very hard to understand exactly what the game wants you to do if you do not follow the path. There's like no map, there's no like gigantic arrow to point you in the direction you want to go at. Like the checkpoints are oriented towards like what's next, but that's just the next jump. That's not the overall goal. So when you get to that part casually, you do not understand that the game wants you to climb that that pike. It's just like, hey, I will follow the marks and I eventually will go somewhere. But
exactly. The only arrows you will find is for interactives cutscenes, actually. So if you search for, like, if you want to get the achievement filled with Wanderlust, which is basically you listen to every single interactive story, you gotta find those arrows, which is also pretty difficult.
Is there a 100% category for that game? Because you have collectibles per level?
We have all collectibles run, but not 100%, because I don't think there's a real percentage for 100% in this game.
Yeah, so all collectible is as close as it will get.
As close as 100% indeed, yeah.
Okay, cool. Because you have like all secret areas and platforms you can get to, and you get like small items and stuff you can gather. And it's sometimes it's very well hidden, and you have like a lot of Easter eggs in that game, in small platforms and stuff. And we get to see a couple of those in the speedrun, which is very cool. We actually use the hidden platforms and stuff to get to places, which is really cool. Okay, look, Yoshix is getting to the repair your boots part. So he didn't have his boots for the previous couple of rooms, and this is a relief when you get to that place casually, because you need those boots. At that point, you like rely a lot on them, and yeah, they're very, very good, getting you, like, saving you. It's almost just a backup plan.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I was so relieved you could skip the entire losing your boots part in this game.
Yeah, which is very funny. Like you only lose your boots if you touch one platform, but the game allows you for such freedom of movement that it's pretty easy to when you once you know it, it's super easy to actually avoid like the that moment.
I haven't seen this place in years where Yosho she is with the falling rocks.
Yeah. So the speedrun for that part does something like super dangerous. On the middle pillar, you have like just like one tiny triangle you can land on, and it allows for such a huge skip, and it's pretty funny to watch.
Oh, right.
Oh no, he didn't. Oh, he had still like one grapple. Something you do a lot in that game is grappling the place you want to land at, just to be sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I landed hard and felt the impact vibrate through my body.
Okay, Lucarata lost his
Protected me, but
boots,
it was
their
in
boots.
bad shape. The rocket boots were worse off.
And yeah, Mollyman is trying to make his way in the darkness of the chasm still.
I knew that
While
if I
Zoff is falling to his death during that part. The falling cubes room is just like a nightmare. Like
I
it's
remember when
bad.
playing casually. It was I think I let my brother do this actually. He was way better than me back then, and I just hated this part. And I used to do this in my run, and then I kind of got it precise, but it's so annoying because you know I tend to get really disoriented in that part of the cubes.
What time were you getting when you were doing that in the ice caves?
I think that was back when I did my own route, so I think like close to 1 hour, like 15 minutes, I believe.
Okay, the 1 hour mark is not too hard to beat once you know the round. Like once you know the strats, I feel like a lot of runners are going to hit the sub 40, following the tutorials and the skips like pretty easily, and it's going to get hard starting at 40 minutes to get to the sub 30 mark, which would be the goal for anyone. But yeah, I don't know how many runners will make that happen.
I hope to see at least one.
Yeah, I'm sure there are like some very, very talented runners in the UD that have the time to actually grind the games a lot. So, and learning a lot of games is like Kim was saying that, but learning a lot of game is not too bad because you actually like get a good method on how to grind and how to learn fast. And like you actually a speedrun, once you've learned it correctly, you never forget it. Like it's done. It's in your.
I think that's the same with you know, remembering the lyrics of a song.
Exactly. Like you guys, I've played so much a story about my uncle. I feel like if you could not play the game for 2 years and you had to do the restaurant afterwards, like you would get a pretty good time.
Yeah, I didn't play the game for I think 2 months, and I went back and I lost like 5 minutes I think, just because I triggered one cutscene and I had to menu out twice.
That's good though. For races, when you trigger a cutscene, you can like hit escape and just cancel the cutscene and skip it all over again, which is way faster than actually listening to the cutscene. So that's, you know, still it's something.
One of Fred's campsite, noticeably newer than the others.
I think when exactly when I trigger cutscene I just reset. Makes me cry though, but I just reset.
Yeah, at that point, like, I guess I understand, but well, for those races, we are going to set up no reset for the runners, so they are going to have to understand and know how to play around their mistakes. And mistakes and errors will happen in a story about my uncle. You can, like, the game is forgiving, so sometimes you can just like do a quick grapple or a quick like rocket boots to save yourself, but sometimes you will have to take the loss.
Okay.
Yoshi made good progress through the ice caves and actually gets to the last part of the run.
That part we call Spider-Man, actually.
Yeah, it is a very cool part where you have like a ceiling and a lot of crystals, so
Yeah,
and you have to use your grappling hook for a long
grapple,
time.
grapple, recharge, grapple, grapple. I find that the funniest part in the game. Just I don't know why, but it just gives me the feeling like I'm actually Spider-Man.
Yeah. I don't know like any good Spider-Man games. I'm sure they have happened, but if you wanted to like throw grapples and feel like Spider-Man, A Story About My Uncle is as good as it gets.
I really love the grappling mechanic in this game, and I love the rocket boots. That's why I keep on running it. Though I keep saying that I really, really hate this game.
Well, that means you're a speedrunner.
Yeah, exactly.
So one funny part is that the game does not stop when you trigger that cutscene. To be fair, I feel like it could have been like time when you encounter your uncle there, but there's like that final epilogue part where you have to play through. So it's about like 5 minutes of waiting at the end of a run. So I guess there are not that many complete run. If you are not on PB pace, you are not like completing the run.
No, you skip out of this part. When I practice, I do not go to epilogue as well. So we had a discussion over removing it, same with workshop, but I can't remember why we don't do it. I believe just because it is the actual end of the game. Instead of workshop is not the real start of the game, since you do not really interact with jumping or grappling.
Yeah, I can get that. At some point, you have to play through your game because it is, you know, a speedrun is all about like beating a game as fast as you can. That's why also you start the game with like the minute and 42 seconds, because like if a runner would be to do the introduction, like he can if he wants to. He will not be punished time-wise. And I guess for the SGDQ run, we are going to see the workshop.
I don't know if Vince is planning on doing that, but I know that Kim did that when he did it on a German speedrunning thing. Just because it's a good introduction to the game as well, and it gives you the time to talk about the game itself too. And you can explain the story if you want to, or talk about the rules, I guess.
Yeah, the game requires the route and all the tricks require a lot of precision and focus. So talking while running that game, or even just reading chat, is impossible.
Vince was actually training himself on doing that, and I don't think he's really good at it still. So he just waits. He always waits when, and I do the same thing. I just always wait when you interact with a cutscene, which is I think 3 times in the game.
Yeah, I find like the cutscenes to be excruciating, like super long, excruciating. Like I cannot bear like the cutscene and the wait during the run, but I know a lot of runners are enjoying being able to take a short break, deep breath, and next part is coming up. So you know, for some people it's going to be a fun and relaxed game. For some people in the UD it's going to be a frustrating grind, but I feel like it's going to be a super cool game in between super intense platformer, for example. Like you do a small story about my uncle, it's quite like it's intense, but you have like more time to breathe.
Yeah, exactly.
You can skip through those credits though, which is good.
Pressing escape, yeah. You actually get a loading screen, and that's why when we usually split the timer, because we split when you get into the loading screen. So.
It was dark all around me.
Yeah, the game is timed real time, not in like no, you do not remove the loads, but the loads are so short in that game that it doesn't really matter. Like
exactly.
It's okay. Like I guess like it's maybe 4 to 5 seconds for the entire run, so no problem whatsoever.
Nephew,
Uncle Fred.
Also gives me some preparation for the next. It's same with cutscene. Just no split second of loading, just aiming my mouse
I
and
found the
that's
suit in his workshop, and that I
Yeah.
came looking
The
for him.
cutscenes you can move while they're running, so you can like position yourself and get ready for the next spot, which is
exactly.
like the best way maybe to do a cutscene during a speedrun.
Instead of standing on Maddie, indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter actually, since it's not a big world. But I always, make myself prepared on the next part after a cutscene.
Yeah, that's
Which
the
is
smart
actually
thing to
only
do.
at Village, since the rest of the cutscenes are ending cutscenes for levels. So
I interrupted Fred and told him about Maddie, how he came all
So
the
I
way
feel
to
like
Scarlet
Yoshi
to
did
get
not
me,
actually beat the game.
and
He
that I
got
had promised to
he got
ask
tired
him
of watching the
if he would
credits,
go see her
but
there.
once again, this is a blind race. The runners mostly don't know about the games nor the rules yet for the speedrun. The rules are pretty easy though. It's like you don't do the fling, which is like a super precise glitch. If you don't, nobody is going to do it unintentionally. I feel like you have to mean it if you do a fling, and except that, it starts at Sanctuary and get to the final cutscene, and that's it. So, and everything is allowed. I guess if we find like a new OB or a new platform to land on, nothing is going to be banned. But the route didn't change much recently,
I
did
don't
it?
trust this pad for
no,
more than one ride
only
anyway.
one edge boost
You
in
need that ride.
Village,
I didn't wanna
which
go
I
home,
still do not have under
And I
control, and
asked
I
if I
believe
could stay
one
with him and Maddie instead.
in Ice Cave and the
I'm
Sanctuary.
sorry, nephew. As much
Okay,
as I
so
enjoy
those
having
are
you
very
here,
like
you
minor
must go home.
optimizations.
Explore the
And
world
pretty
on your
difficult.
own. Have your own adventures.
Yeah, the time passing, like all the tricks usually in speedruns gets harder and harder until like you get that
I will miss you,
limit. No one can
but I'm sure
beat
you'll
except like
drift
maybe
on
for
on your
TAS or
own.
something. So
And don't worry
it's
about me or Maddie.
normal. Zoff is trying to find a way
is
he's
yours,
supposed to
boy.
go to. Like
When you're
he's
Opposite side.
yeah, he's lost there. Trying to use those rocks he's not supposed to land on.
This
But-
part is especially really easy in running, since you still have the rocket boots in the usual run. Without boots, it's a pain.
Yeah, keeping the boots here once again, like we've said that like maybe 5 times already, but it's so good. Like you can just like jump, use the boots, and you're
Look up and you, yeah,
and
exactly. It's way too easy.
well, we have to have like those easy parts. Like speedrun tend to make some parts way harder and some parts way
Does that
easier than
mean
casual
Freddy's still
playthrough.
there?
And the ice caves,
That
they're
was the
very
last
good.
time I saw him.
Don't you miss him?
And
I
pretty
do,
major skips,
sometimes,
as
but I don't
in
worry
saving
about him.
time.
because I know that wherever
Because
he
I believe
is,
I had like
he's on his biggest.
I'm not sure about
adventure
this,
yet.
but I think round about
Dear Fred, today
how
I stepped
half an hour,
into the lobby
like 30
of your
minutes.
house for the last time.
Um,
My daughter asked me
in
to
my
tell her
own route,
about
and
your
when
adventure,
Kim helped me, and I
and I
went
came
to
think of you.
31 frames, like 50
Your house
minutes.
looks just
first
like my mother
try.
left it
Mhm.
years ago.
And then
After
less and
you're
less.
gone,
Like I don't
I was sure
know
she was going to throw
my
out
exact time
all your
on
stuff,
Ice Cave.
but she just cleaned up.
Yeah, the ice caves I
It's
was
nothing
super
already.
worried about, and it's actually
For a
like
while,
very
I
nice,
came here
very
every day.
nice end of the
Super
run,
used
super
to it.
easy.
Sometimes
Lots
I
of
could even
like
think
it's
you'd
still
hear your
precise.
voice
You can fail a
calling
lot
from
of
the
parts, but
observatory,
like nothing
asking
is
me
as
to get you used to
demanding
it
as
before
the
that.
sanctuary or the chasm
I
skip,
never told my
and
mother about that day.
it's not as
not
mean
sure
on
if
your
you will.
run at
Can I believe
the Star Heaven. So
after all these years?
I guess the only like easier part is the village, because like except for one or two edge boosts, like the village has almost nothing, so it's okay.
Village is really, really short in comparison to other levels.
Okay, Zoff getting stuck here. You have to be careful with your hitbox. Oh no,
It's
has to restart here. And Mollyman finally gets out of the chasm, so finally he has some light. He can see where he's going, so
found an even
this is
greater
so
adventure.
much relaxing when you get there. Like you've said it, but it's so
Love.
true.
Your
It's
nephew.
so cool. And I feel like that level is what the players are going to remember about the game. Like mostly, it gives like such a sense of freedom.
Yeah, exactly. That feeling is so powerful on that level, especially just because you came out of a really, really dark place, and then just the light and the music, and the vibe of the whole area gives a good freedom feeling.
And the way the level is designed, like you can grapple the small rocks you see from so far away. Like you really feel like you can do whatever you want, but you still have to follow a little bit the path. But careful, Mollyman, hitting that rock a couple of times. You have to let go, and you have a lot of air control, so you have to let go your grapple and then do like either left or right to just dodge, barely dodge it, and that's
since all the rocks are above you. Almost all the time, so yeah, letting go is something huge in this part.
And here we can see like the struggle Mollyman has just emphasizes how important the checkpoints are. And Kim was saying earlier that you do not take any checkpoint up until like a minute 30 into the level, which is like super scary. And I do hope like the runners will take some safety saves during the races, because that could take so much time away from them.
Exactly. It is just the reset hardest level in the game, I believe, in the run. Yeah, it is. How many times I had to start over in Starhaven is yeah.
Do you stream regularly?
I'm sorry, what's it?
I was wondering if you were streaming the game regularly on Twitch.
Well, back then, yeah, because I had a lot of time, but now I'm almost to my accent, so not really anymore. I do miss it though, but yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll have to wait for like this summer. Maybe you have some more time to
in
do
the summer.
some.
I have an infinite amount of time. So.
Nice. Okay, cool. So be sure to check out like Fat Pike on Twitch this summer for some a story about my uncle grind. Looker Attack got a 5450, which is pretty decent for like, I guess that's his second or third playthrough. He did not go for any crazy strat in the run, but yeah, that that's a good, clean, casual run, I'd say. And know from that he has to build up like a lot of knowledge, know where the skips are, and know how to get through most of the parts. And that should like go for it's a solid start. I feel like knowing how the game works is very important in that game. Like doing a casual playthrough is not wasted if you want to do a speedrun.
Exactly.
Not unlike the cave.
That's also how I really wanted to run it, just because I love the casual playthrough, and I did it lots of times. I think, you know what, why not?
Now it lay desolated.
Yeah, go as fast as you can. The game has some time trials built in, like the game wants you to go fast, but it makes some pretty major differences with the game. Like you, I think like if I recall correctly, you start with all your upgrades already, so everything changes quite a bit.
If you start with the time trial, I don't know. No. You play the game just as you used to, but I never do Sanctuary, so I don't know if you start without. I believe you start without your grapple.
Okay, I was mistaken. I saw you had like your entire upgrades right off the bat.
Yeah, would have been amazing, but.
Okay, good progress from Dove. Yeah, once again in chat, if you like what you're seeing, be sure to check out like a story about my uncle on the speedrun.com. They have like a friendly community, a friendly Discord. If you want to learn the game, like now is the time, because all the UD community is going to grind the game. So be sure to check the !UD in chat. You have all the information if you want to join us. And yeah, this game is like it's quite cheap. Usually a lot of people have it because it was on Humble Bundle number 18, I think. So like a lot of people don't even know, but they have it, and you should check it out. It's a very good game.
I agree.
Okay, this is a tough part where Mollyman is. Those windmills are pretty bad. Once you know that you can just like grapple the centerpiece that never moves, it gets okay, but those wings are super slow, and the interaction with your grapple is unclear, like how the momentum works. So the less you see of those, the better the runners are going to be. Yeah, Mollyman is trying to understand what he's supposed to do here.
If you do a long, if he does a long jump, you can just make it to the second wing. I guess it's not too difficult.
Casual players don't do as many long jumps as they could. I feel like they just do it, and I was the same. You just do it when the game tells you to do so, and when the game is like, yeah, okay, just jump, it's going to be okay. You don't long jump, you don't even think about it.
Yeah, I don't remember how to play this game casually. I know that Vince, he was a big meme because he didn't play it casually. So one time he just did it. I believe he got all the achievements and 100% it, but I don't think I can go back to play it casually. No, I feel like every runner can't do that.
Yeah, it's impossible. Once you've started speedrunning the game, like you know too much about the game just to have the same like sense of wonder you will have on your first playthrough. It's gone. You play too much, it's over.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I do not run, my favorite of all time game, just because I still love it to play casually.
Okay, Mollyman making his way through the windmills. He will get finally the rocket boots, which are a very good upgrade. You are so happy once you start using it, but yeah, he's lost. You have to get those boots, Mollyman. Let's go. And Zoff at the end of the very final part of the speedrun here. Well, the final part where you have still your grappling hook, which is the meat of the game. So you have like 5 minutes to go afterward, but it's the last like real dense gameplay, and it's not too hard, but I feel like a lot of people are going to fail that part just because it's right at the end, and maybe you are on PB pace, maybe the race is going to be over soon, and just it's very easy to fail here. Like you have to stay focused, and I feel like right at the end of the game it can be tough.
Yeah, but once you practice it, it is not so difficult anymore, I feel. Just I do not remember failing it as much as I used to, so.
Yeah, practice makes everything perfect, I guess. But certainly that last level, I expect like no one to have any trouble on later on this year. But at the start, not so sure. We'll see on Thursday actually how well it goes. And the fear of winning, exactly. Like so close yet so far. Zoff trying to land on top of the part here. You get like some glitches sometimes, like if you get out of bounds. It's very unclear sometimes whether the walls have hitboxes or not. Like you can go through a lot of things when you're just slightly out of the way in a story about my uncle, and you have to figure out like what gives you your rocket boots or your grappling hook back, or what doesn't.
It was dark all around me, but there was a light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, Zoff makes it to the final dialogue. Mollyman doing this time, having fun with his rocket boots, getting used to them. It will come very fast, I'm sure.
Hello? Nephew?
Uncle Fred, I finally found
But yeah, like we are very close to wrapping this stream up. We've seen like most of the game on on every stream. Do you have any specific advice on how to learn and how to practice that game, like from your experience?
It just depends on how you prefer to, practice or learn it. In my opinion, I just recommend find your own way, and then look at some runs and try to copy the strats. But I don't think there's a really strict way to, as you said earlier. It's not really you have freedom on where you grapple and where you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so finding your own way, your own strats, what you're comfortable with. The game allows for some easy level per level practice because you have that level select menu, which is very nice if you just want to do just before your runs a chasm skip or something like that. You will be able to. I still feel like you need to put a lot of practice in Sanctuary if you want to be comfortable with just the start of the run. Just doing a lot of Sanctuary is going to be mandatory for anyone who wants to be like sure is going to be okay at the first level, and building confidence in the first level is very important because you want to you don't want to fail right off the bat. So
yeah, there's one part in the beginning where you have to land on a pole, which is really difficult if you start using that trick.
Yeah, it saves one jump, or maybe it saves maybe one cycle. I don't know, but it depends.
You in Sanctuary in the beginning you have like the two platforms, that go up and down, in sort of a opposite way of each other. And if you do the first couple of jumps just right, you will make it, and otherwise I usually reset if I fail to get in the first cycle.
Yeah, I understand, because the cycles are very long, so you want to be sure. And that's going to be interesting in races, because we are going to see all the runners that succeed on the first cycle, like getting like already 15 seconds ahead of everyone else, and it's going to stack up the runner together depending on what cycle they get. So it's going to be very fun to watch. But yeah, I hope like everybody does as well as they want to, obviously.
What happens if you hit the first cycle good, you will get every other cycle in the perfect way, since it's all on a global cycle. So
getting the correct speed, you will get like everything you practiced in the same way. And the global cycles are a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Exactly.
If it goes well, it goes very well. If it goes wrong, it goes very wrong. So, you have that. But yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot, Fat Bike, for being there with us today. That was like very good introduction, like in first stream of a story about my uncle. We are going to see more of it this week and all the season for the UD. So if you want to check out the Discord, if you want to learn the game, please do so. And be sure to follow the runners you've seen today. Mollyman, Lucarata, Zuff, Yoyoshix are going to run the game way more, trying to go down that sub 30 landmark. So be sure to follow Fat Bike also. He's going to stream during the summer, story about my uncle. Not so much time these days. But yeah, again, thanks a lot for joining us today. We had like Kim in the attic earlier. And I'm pretty sure a lot of runners are going to be very good, very fast at a story about my uncle.
Yeah.
Well, right after this on Speed Gaming, we have a lot of Zelda Link to the Past happening. So check out the schedule.
Does that mean
let's see what we have next on Speed Gaming 1. Right after this, we have obviously some more LTTP randomizer. So be sure to check out Cross Product versus Prior 57 in like half an hour. I've been Twin for the UD. See you later.
Dear Fred, today I step into the lobby of your house for the last time. My daughter asked me to tell